Welcome back to another edition of the Educational AD Podcast. We couldn't do this without the incredible support of our sponsors, and we want to start by saying thank you to all of them. First, thanks to our diamond sponsor, Varsity Brands, including BSN, Varsity Spirit, and Herff Jones. Varsity Brands, elevating student experiences in sport, spirit, and achievement. We also want to thank our platinum sponsors, Ephesus Lighting, innovating a brighter future at every level. Gilman Gear, always a step ahead. Camp Mobile, where teams communicate better. Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing. And Vital Signs, bring student achievements to life. Thank you to all of our great sponsors. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of the Educational AD Podcast, this time featuring the FIAAA Insider. Our guest today is Jason Frey. He's a certified athletic administrator, and he's the director of athletics at Pompano Beach High School in South Florida. Jason's also a member of our FIAAA Board of Directors. Jason, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Jake. Thanks for having me, and good to see you. Good to see you. We've missed everybody in the last couple of weeks and months here.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to have our September Board of Directors meeting soon. Another great opportunity to Zoom.
Yeah. Excellent. Just exactly what we're looking forward to.
Right. Well, as you know, the life of an athletic director is very busy these days, so we're going to jump right into it. We always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, where you went to school and college, and maybe how your love of sports helped lead to that first teaching and coaching job.
Well, I tell you, Jake, my journey is probably like many of our South Florida and Florida athletic directors. Did not begin here in the great state of Florida. I began up in Michigan, just outside of Detroit, a little town called Allen Park, Michigan. All right, where mom and dad saw an opportunity for me and my brother to get out and to do some things. And this was before we had the cell phones and you know, Snapchats and Instant Books and all these different things. So we just wanted to be outside and we wanted to play. And more importantly, we just wanted to compete. I wanted to beat my brother. I wanted to beat my best friend, Bri. You know, I mean, that's what we wanted to do. You know, we wanted to, you know, learn those life lessons and really, you know, living in Michigan, you know, it was nice because, you know, we had those different seasons and I had the opportunity to get excited when, you know, I was 8 years old and the snow dried up and I could grab my baseball glove. And I was excited when it started to snow because I could go skiing or, you know, it was hockey season. I could go see my brother, or it was basketball season. So I had some games. So, you know, my athletic journey kind of began in Michigan and it's continued to this day, you know, with 3 kids at home and, you know, a couple daughters that are into dance and my son who basically, if there's a ball or a stick involved, you know, he's all in. So I'm all sports, I'm all competing and just trying to be the best person you can possibly be. But Michigan and then down here to Florida, and it's a different scene down here, but it's, you know, sports are sports.
Well, I'm curious, what brought you from Michigan down to the Sunshine State?
Well, I went to Eastern Michigan University up in Ypsilanti, about 15 miles outside of Ann Arbor. And Broward County would come every year to recruit teachers. It was a pretty big teacher education school. And my fraternity happened to run the teachers fair. So I would get an opportunity to kind of network prior to everybody showing up. And Broward County would always show up. And I didn't even know where Broward County was. I can tell you, you know, I went to Disney World when I was about 10 or 11. That was about it. And I said, you know, let me sit down with these people from Florida because I can go talk to the people from back home by just calling my uncle who knows the guy who's hiring the superintendent. So I sat down with Broward County and they kind of sold me on Teach Near the Beach. And, you know, I got sick of doing the same thing and hearing the same stories every single time. And, you know, kind of knowing that, hey, you can always leave because you can always come back. But sometimes when you stay, you ain't never going to go nowhere. So I tried it and, you know, it was great. I mean, I fell in love, met Rocky Gillis, probably one of my best friends. And, the rest is history down here in Pompano Beach.
Well, talk a little bit about your path from classroom teacher and coach now to athletic director. How did that take shape?
Well, we're a little different than some spots. And I know a lot of your ADs are sitting there. The path from teacher to athletic director, well, I'm still doing the same thing. So I'm a science teacher. I teach anatomy, physiology, and biology. I've taught AP biology. I've taught yearbook. So pretty much my day is 2/3 of the day is teaching, the advanced science curriculum. And the other third is kind of running around, making sure that everything is good to go with the athletic department. So I've been a soccer coach for about 14 years. I coach football here at Pompano Beach High School and over at Blanche Ely High School for about 10 years. Flag football. I've coached baseball. I mean, I'm kind of just like my son. If there's a ball and a stick involved, yeah, I could probably figure it out. Swimming, no, there's no balls and no sticks. I got nothing on swimming. But I coach for probably 14 years, my 20th year of teaching this year. And I've been the athletic director now. This is my 11th year. So kind of the idea was kind of following the footprints of a good friend, Rocky Gillis, and started to see that, I was doing more for my kids and my teams than the other coaches were. And I started to have kids and started doing a little bit less than I had normally done. And I figured I could have a much greater impact to a lot more people, all right, than just dealing with my one team. So I decided to take on everybody else's headaches and problems and try to help them out as well.
Okay. That actually sounds fairly typical. You talk about Rocky Gillis. Rocky was our very first guest on the podcast. He's also our FIAAA president-elect, planning the 2021 conference. I'm guessing he was probably, one of your mentors, and we like to talk about mentors. Who are some of the other people that had an impact in your life? Maybe coaches growing up or people that you worked with that as you deal with your kids, your coaches, your classroom, you can still hear their voice in your head as you talk to your kids.
Yeah, definitely Rocky on the administrative and coaching side. He would probably be my number one guy, from down here. I like to be a sponge. There's not everybody's, there's nobody who's perfect. So if we can pick up one or two different things, good or bad, from everybody and kind of put them together, then that will, I believe, make you a better individual. Any decision that I make, I'm always thinking about, hey, what would my mom and what my dad think of? I've got soccer coaches and friends that coach and all these, and, probably one of my, biggest, probably, I don't know, people that I get my quotes from is, Bo Schembechler. And one of my favorite things from Bo is no player is more important than the team. No coach is more important than the team. It's about the team, the team, the team. And if we all think that way, then we're going to compete and do well. So, everything I try to do, I try to think about what effect is it not going to have on myself, but, would my mom be happy? Would my dad be happy? Is my principal, my coaches, would my kids be happy? All right. So, it's all about, trying to take a little bit from everybody just to make every day better than the day before.
That's nice that you mentioned Bo Schembechler. As a kid, I remember watching TV back then. You'd only have the big schools on. There weren't, all these different sports channels. And Michigan was there every year. And I came across that Schembechler quote and actually the video on YouTube. The team, the team, the team, and used it with one of my teams there in South Florida many, many years ago. One of my players who was on that team became a coach. He actually ended up using it with his team where he coached. So it's great stuff.
Good things, words to live by.
Oh, absolutely. Let's go ahead and jump right into COVID. One thing we've seen is that it's had an impact, not just in Florida, but nationwide. We've also seen a wide variety of responses. Some states have switched seasons. Football's in the spring and baseball's in the fall. Other states, it's business as usual. And of course, we know what's happening here in Florida. So for someone who's down there in South Florida, kind of on the front lines, What's going on right now with, Pompano Beach and with the Broward County schools?
I mean, right now, I mean, everyone is itching to get back out there. I can tell you that, we're not officially doing anything. And when I say not officially, there's nobody hiding at the park and conditioning or doing anything like that. We're shooting for here mid to late September to get optional workouts, and then mid October, hopefully, to get games in, and things are going to be shortened and things like that. And following it and talking to other guys from around the country and being from Michigan, so I'm following what's going on in Michigan. I was really surprised, and I'm going to tell you, disappointed in what our state organization did. Because if I look back at Michigan, we're talking a cold weather state, and football is just as important in Michigan as it is in Ohio, and they shut it down, and there's more cases in South Florida on a daily basis than there is in the whole entire state of Michigan. So our kids are itching to get out there. There may not be the state championships, from the South Florida community, like there has been in recent years in the fall and the winter. But as educational-based athletics, we need to remember it's not about the championships, and a lot of times I think the championship lingo, and it's all about this and all about that, and we got to win, and we got to win the state championship. When you talk to the kids, they don't care about that. That's coach stuff. That's for me and you to kind of, hey, how many rings do you have type of thing. These kids, they want two things. They want to compete, and they want to interact with their buddies. So if we can, in the end, give them 5 weeks of that, or 4 weeks of a fall season, that's better than nothing. All right, and that's kind of where we're at right now. And it's going to take a couple of weeks for these guys to get into shape, because a lot of them just been sitting on the couch.
What's your take on just say your coaches and your kids and even your families? They're probably, like you said, itching to go, but when you guys finally get the green light, what's the readiness level for your coaches and teams to jump right in?
I think the readiness level of, we're talking fall, because that's pretty much what we're dealing with. Football has been pretty good with Zoom meetings. So, in the end, we've got a lot of guys who may not have played a lot of football. So these Zoom meetings may have helped them actually understand the game a little bit more than they would have if they were just kind of thrust out there with a helmet and shoulder pads, in the beginning of the fall and in the summer. The volleyball girls, they're playing club. Football is the tough one, because high school football is so important for recruiting, for exposure, where, a lot of the other sports, the swimming, the golf, the cross country, the volleyball. These girls are already competing in other places. They just want the opportunity to get back and represent their high school and play with their friends. So I think they're ready to go. Looking at physicals and insurance that people have already submitted online through Home Campus and athleticclearance.com, $895. They're ready to go. I get texts and calls all the time, and we're ready to go.
Hey, you mentioned Home Campus. That $895 is the best $895 I think our school has ever spent.
Without a doubt. Easy peasy.
Talking about, you mentioned football, and again, I was just having this conversation with another AD. High school football is still the only sport that does not have an alternative club activity. Every other sport at the high school level, they can do AAU or travel or club.
Right.
And football still doesn't have that. So yeah, football is kind of special. Another question we've been asking our ADs on the podcast relates to the events that occurred, last spring in Minneapolis and Atlanta and other places, and now most recently in Wisconsin. And the question is, as athletic directors, what are some things that we can do a better job of with our communities, with our kids, with regards to this issue of social awareness or even social justice?
I think a lot of it has to do with communication, not only speaking, but listening and letting the kids know that if you are having a problem, that there's somebody that you come and talk to, and if you don't want to talk to me, then I got 6 other people that you can talk to, and you can talk. We got lots of guys. you know, one of the greatest things about sports is, you know, sports is such a unifier. You know, it doesn't matter, and I think that's one of the greatest things about playing sports when you're little. You know, you don't care who that guy is. You don't care what color he is, where he's from, how much money he's got, what his mom and dad showed up at the park and dropped him off with, whether he's got a good snack on snack day or not. All right, you know that that's your buddy, and you're going to do whatever you could for your buddy. So, you know, sports is great as a unifier. So, kind of, you know, letting the kids know also that, you know, they can have a voice in this and say, hey guys, you know, just like, you know, I'm trying to think of the movie off the top of my head with strong side, weak side, and what was it? Denzel was the football movie.
Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans. You know, at some point we have to, you know, these kids are they're gonna grow up to be adults, so they have to have the ability to articulate and speak up and say, hey, this is how I feel. You know, and the bottom line is, you know, everyone's, you know, has the right to their own opinion, and we just have to, you know, listen and engage and hopefully build stronger people for the future.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Let's talk a little bit about our state association and our national organization. You know, you've been an AD now. You mentioned this was your 20th year. I know you're, you know, moving through the NIAAA certification process. You got your CAA. We have a lot of younger athletic directors, you know, that listen to the podcast. Kind of walk them through, you know, your steps of, you know, getting involved at the state level and, you know, working to achieve that national certification.
Well, you know, we kind of got involved. I mean, you know, under the leadership of Rocky, you know, kind of, hey man, I'm going to this meeting this weekend, and I think it'd be very fun. I think you should come. So, you know, we started it like that, and you know, it's a great organization. If, you know, like we said earlier, compete. If I'm going to do something, I want to be the best. So why would I just be a regular AD when I can go and take some classes? And once you take one or two, or you do your NFHS coaching certification, you start to realize, hey, you know, this is pretty fun. You know, I mean, I'm a driver's ed guy, so I did driver's ed last summer. I was like, you know what, this is pretty good. And hopefully, you know, maybe some guys and some ladies that were sitting over here during the pandemic and realized, hey, I got all this free time. Maybe they took a class online. Maybe they learned Spanish or how to knit or the guitar. But the classes are fun. They're, you know, I can't say they're easy because, I mean, it's, you know, it's not an easy, hard thing. It's not math or science, but it's all relatable. They're things that you can use. And even if you don't use everything, you know, if you pick something up, it's well worth it. So I would encourage, and I do to all my guys and ladies down here in Broward, start with the CAA, you know, come to the state conference. The state conference is great. Come see me in the hospitality room. We'll help you out. You know, you can take, you know, that first time you come, you get that free class. You know, the online classes, I've done a few of those for my CAA to get there. They were nice. You know, you just find a place in your house and just sit down. You guys have been doing it for the last 8 months. You know, you got to try to do a little bit better. I'm currently, you know, trying to figure out how I want to go about my CMAA. You know, obviously, Jake, you're the man on all this. Do I want to take the NIAAA classes, or do I want to hook up with William Woods and some of these other universities and take those? You know, I think one of the advantages, I think if you do the college masters, that obviously that is a little bit better for a guy like me because that's going to work towards my pay, where our county doesn't recognize CAA as an extra type of what do you call it, additional supplement type thing.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think you got to get involved. I mean, the national is great. You got different climates. You know, this year I'm excited to go over to Tampa. I don't have to hop on a plane. All right, so I don't care what's going on in the world. I think it's going to be unbelievable. All right, you know, I think the people from the north should hit the tanning booth before they come down, because you guys have been locked up in your houses for too long here. But it's going to be great. I mean, there's going to be so many people that are just going to want to talk and network and see all these cool new things that are going on, and then obviously share and learn about the experience of not only COVID, but you know what's going on with you know, cancel culture and people's mascots, and you know what's going on with, you know, You know, the riots and social justice and, you know, Blue Lives Matters and all these different things. How is it affecting the high school athletes? Because everybody's going to have a similar problem that everyone's going to have 10,000 different ways to get to it. And it's really nice to know that you're not the only one that has a parent calling you. You're not the only one that's dealing with this. You're not the only one that eats McDonald's at 11:30 on the way back from a football game. You're going to see real people, and you're going to meet these people. When you see them year after year, it's just a great organization all around.
Wow, what a great, that was a great PSA. We're going to have to make sure we forward that on to the national office. And the things you mentioned about the CMAA, I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. I guarantee that there's something that you're doing at Pompano Beach High School, and for any other AD that's listening, there's something you're doing right now that would make a great CMAA project. You don't have to go out and reinvent the wheel. You simply need to tell your story of what you're doing at your school with your kids, your coaches, your parents, you know, whatever that is. And if you have questions, please reach out. I'd be happy to help you. The other thing on the national conference, yeah, it's at Tampa this year, and we're excited. You know, hopefully we'll have that finalized by the time this particular episode is airing. So thanks, Jason, for sharing all that.
Yes, sir.
You know, you mentioned earlier, you know, you're a classroom teacher. You know, you're not like me, a PE health weight room guy. You're in there on the front lines, you know, science and AP, but you're also an athletic administrator. What are some of the things that you really love about the job? What gets you excited each day about coming to work?
God, what makes me excited every day? Well, number one, every day is different. You know, I mean, that's one of the great things about being a teacher. You got, you know, we got what, 1,200 kids at their school. Every day there's 1,200 different kids. I mean, right now there's 0 kids because you know what's going on. Man, what gets me excited? You know, some people would say the wins and the losses. You know, to be honest with you, I mean, once I started having kids, I didn't really care about the wins and losses as much anymore. You know, it was about the memories that these kids are. You just see it happening. You know, I mean, I'll see a kid, you know, score a goal, and it's just like, you know, and you know how hard they work. So the thing that keeps me going is knowing that, you know, I'm trying to make it better for them. A lot of our kids are going to be college athletes. You know, I want to give them the college athlete experience on a daily basis. You know, you know, the introductions and the high fives after the game. I don't know if we're able to even do those anymore, but you know, that's kind of what keeps me going is can I be better today than I was yesterday?
No, absolutely. That makes perfect sense. Well, Jason, this has just flown by. I think this has probably been the highest energy interview we've had. I love it, but we're not done.
All right.
We always like to wrap up with what we call the athletic director's toolbox.
Yes.
You're an experienced AD, and right now I'm tasking you with sending out a brand new athletic director on their very first job.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm only going to let you put 3 items in their toolbox. What 3 things are going to go in Jason's athletic director toolbox?
So are we saying 3 skills or 3 objects?
It's whatever 3 things you want to put in there.
Number 1, passion. You got to have the passion. If you don't have the passion, you're not going to be able to do this job. And you might be able to do it, but you're not going to do it to the fullest ability that you possibly can. Number 2, energy. You need energy. All right. You need to be ready because you're going 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I seriously think ADs, we got 367. All right. Because when I'm sleeping, I'm texting and I'm figuring out what's going on with tomorrow's schedule. And number 3, I would say communication. Communication. I think communication is key. You know, relationships die with no communication, Jake. I read that in a book over, you know, the little thing here.
There you go. You're passing it on to that next group.
Pass it on.
Well done. That's a great toolbox. I love it. Well, Jason, thanks so much for being on the show today. I've really enjoyed it, and I know our listeners have too.
All right. Well, hope to see you guys in Tampa.
Okay. To our listeners, thanks as always for tuning in. Come back again next time for another episode of the Educational AD. Thanks again for listening to the Educational AD podcast. Remember, these are also posted on YouTube under Educational AD Podcast. You can watch all the episodes that we've uploaded. Thanks again for listening.